Two lonelinesses meet each other during a risky space mission. Sounds sweet, doesn't it? But when the only creature that can hear you out and brighten up your boredom is a huge alien spider, the situation might take a very unexpected turn. But let's start our story from the very beginning. Jakub Prochaska is a cosmonaut working on a long and exhausting space mission. On the 189th day of his mission, Jakub contacts Commissioner Tuma through a video transmission and reports on the current situation in space. He is tasked with studying the amazing Chopra cloud, and his further discoveries might reveal some important mysteries of the universe. Jakub also answers questions from people from all around the world, and one girl refers to him as the loneliest man in the world. Of course, Jakub denies that he is suffering from loneliness, since he is able to contact any person he wants, including his pregnant wife Lenka, who is patiently waiting for his return. Alas, all of these are not true. Lenka is desperate and broken, and she wants to break up with Jakub, but the signal men don't send her messages to her husband. Jakub struggles with fixing the spaceship and barely sleeps. He asks his physician Peter if there is any news from Lenka, but he says nothing. Jakub is under huge stress and pressure now, so Peter and Commissioner Tuma decide that he shouldn't know about Lenka's messages. When Jakub calls Lenka, she doesn't respond, and he feels that something is wrong. He has a terrible nightmare about a spider running under his skin and coming out of his mouth. He wakes up, terrified and scared, but has to continue his everyday routine. Jakub asks Peter to find Lenka, and he promises to do so. Jakub tries to call his wife, but contacts someone else and informs Peter about the stranger. When strange noises wake Jakub up, he goes to check what is going on and finds the supply closets open. Shortly after that, Jakub sees a giant spider and gets very scared. He contacts the center and asks if there is a safe room in the spacecraft. He decides to take a look at the spider again, and the creature starts talking to him. The spider acts friendly and doesn't want to harm Jakub, but he runs away and hides. Jakub puts on his spacesuit and begs Peter to disinfect the spacecraft. During the disinfection, Jakub has hallucinations about Lenka, and Peter starts worrying about his mental health. However, the spider is safe and sound and only sneezes in Jakub's face. Jakub is not sure if the creature is real. What if it is just another hallucination, and Jakub goes crazy? But the spider assures Jakub that he is as real as the spaceman himself. However, when Jakub tries to touch him, the spider tells him that it is not appropriate in the place he came from. Jakub asks the creature what he is doing in his spacecraft, and the spider tells him that he is a researcher too. While exploring space, he became fascinated with Earth and people, and when he found Jakub's spacecraft, he decided to join him and brighten up his loneliness. Jakub is overwhelmed and needs some time to process this information alone. He keeps dreaming about Lenka, even when he is awake. Somehow, the spider knows about Jakub's troubled relationship with his wife and wants to help him relieve emotional stress. Meanwhile, Lenka goes to her mother and tells her that she wants to leave Jakub and raise her child by herself. The spider gives Jakub the nickname Skinny Human and keeps asking him about Lenka and his life, but Jakub doesn't want to talk to him. When Jakub decides to have a drink, the creature asks him for some snacks, and Jakub lets him try human food. The spider tells him about his home planet, which was destroyed by another alien race, forcing the creature to look for a new home in space. The spider felt desperate and lonely too until he found Jakub and decided to join him. Jakub asks him about the Chopra cloud, and they share the information they have about it. The spider reads Jakub's thoughts about Lenka and tells him that he is able to watch his memories, but Jakub doesn't need therapy. The creature really enjoys human food and wants to help Jakub fight his depression. Lenka's mother tries to reassure her, but Lenka is determined to divorce Jakub. She loved him when she married him, but now she doesn't feel the same anymore. The spider doesn't have a name, so Jakub decides to call him Hanush. Together, they listen to opera, but Jakub starts thinking about Lenka again. He thinks that Hanush is making him recall painful memories about the woman he loves and tells him to stop doing that. Jakub goes to bed but sees another nightmare, this time about his father. Gradually, Jakub starts treating the spider better and tells him more about his human routine. Hanush asks him about his father, and Jakub shares his memories from childhood. The creature advises Jakub to stop blaming himself for his father's mistakes and concentrate on his own future baby. Commissioner Tuma visits Lenka at her mother's place to talk to her about Jakub. She is on his side and thinks that Lenka shouldn't break up with him while he is away. It would break him completely, and Tuma wants Lenka to think more about the possible consequences of her decisions. Jakub prepares to reach the Chopra cloud when suddenly a video of his old conversation with Lenka turns on. Jakub can't turn it off and suddenly notices a little piece of the pink cloud inside the spacecraft. He tries to catch it, but unsuccessfully. Eventually, Jakub captures the particle with the help of a toilet tube. Then, Jakub reveals that he can't contact Peter anymore and spots more pink particles in the room. Jakub chases them, but they fly back to the Chopra cloud. Hanush tells him that the cloud is just the beginning of everything, and Jakub has nothing to be afraid of. Once again, Hanush confronts Jakub about his relationship with Lenka. He knows that Jakub was away when she lost their first baby. Now, he is on the mission again. Why does he keep leaving her when she needs him the most? Lenka decides to move to a house for single mothers without letting Jakub know. He finds a way to contact Peter again, but Hanush stops the call, intending to know more about Lenka. He concludes that Jakub didn't treat her right because of his goals and ambitions and blames Jakub for choosing his loneliness himself. Hanush loses interest in Jakub and decides to leave him. Jakub says that he needs him and tries to stop Hanush, but the spider becomes aggressive and says that Jakub needs nobody but himself. Jakub begs him to stay, but the spider is already gone. Jakub is left alone with his happy memories about Lenka and gets drunk, crying and regretting his life decisions. Jakub asks Peter to find Lenka and persuade her to hear him out. He sincerely apologizes to her and opens his heart, admitting that he wasted his life on space missions instead of being with the person he loves more than anything in the universe. Jakub has a dream about Hanush, and when he wakes up, Hanush is back. The spider reveals that he is dying, and Jakub wants to hug and console him. After they hug, Hanush tells Jakub to get some sleep before they enter the Chopra cloud and see the beginning of everything. Later, he wakes him up, and Jakub prepares for the most important part of the mission. He turns on the video translation, gives a speech, and starts collecting samples of the Chopra cloud. Suddenly, Hanush has a seizure, and all the spacecraft systems stop working. Jakub rushes to help Hanush, but sees that the spider is already outside the spacecraft. Peter tells Jakub to cancel the operation and fly back home, but he puts his spacesuit on and heads outside. He saves Hanush, but the spider is about to die anyway. Jakub recalls one time when he almost died himself. Then, his father saved him, and now Jakub is ready to forgive all his father's mistakes just as his own. Hanush takes Jakub in the middle of the pink cloud, which is a combination of the past, present, and future. Jakub sees the moment when he first met Lenka. It is a miracle, and Jakub admits that meeting Hanush is a miracle too. Hanush starts dying, and Jakub gives him his favorite snack to make him feel better. Hanush advises Jakub to never lose hope and lets him go. Hanush dissolves and disappears. While Jakub thinks about his wife, Lenka suddenly sees a pink particle and smiles. They see a common vision with each other and whisper each other's names. After Jakub gets rescued, he calls Lenka, and they reconcile. Very soon he will come back to her, and his loneliness will be over forever.